Hey Lions fans, welcome to the Molloy softball preview. I'm Rick Rissetto here with the head coach of the Molloy softball program and also the director of athletics for Molloy College, Susan Cassidy-Lyke. Now, coach, 24 and 27 record last season, made the East Coast Conference tournament, had a wild stay in the ACC tournament with a game that was suspended and then resumed the next day, unfortunately eliminated by LIU Post before the finals. What are the major takeaways that you have from last season, and really what are the positives that you had going into this season coming up?
Well, obviously our goal is always to make the ECC final game, and we've been successful enough to do that for the last 5 years. I think what we can take from that is that we were young in our pitching staff, and we can score runs, so I'm not worried about the scoring, but we'll definitely have to firm up our pitching to be a little bit less giving to the offense.
One of the things that I noticed a lot from last season as well is that there was a lot of reliance on the power game, in that Tracy Balinskis hit 12 home runs, Victoria Gunnels was now part of your coaching staff, had 6 home runs. In general, what is it about the long ball game that kind of helps your team distance itself from the opponents and from the rest of the pack in a sense?
Yeah, I don't think we just look to hit the long ball, but I think, believe it or not, with our strength and conditioning that we've been doing over the last couple of years, I've noticed a dramatic increase in our home run production, and it helps us a lot offensively, and we still like to play small ball though, so we got to use whatever personnel we have.
And last year, your team was the second best in the conference at not striking out at the plate. You only had 167 strikeouts as opposed to your pitchers fanning 217 batters throughout the season. So what does that say? What is the testament to the plate discipline that you preach and practice every single time out, that your team was that good at not going down on 3 strikes?
We try to teach each player to make sure that they make it the best up at bat, and we're not going to swing at something that we don't like. And if you go in with that approach, you're going to be ahead of the game when you start off. So that helped us, where we know that defensively we may give up more runs than we choose to, so we really need to be very disciplined at the plate to make sure that we get the best opportunity for a hit.
You mentioned that, and I wanted to bring it up a bit because it was a glaring number that kind of went through the home runs. And younger pitching staffs, they go through that motion where you leave a few pitches over the plate, and good hitters will take it over the fence more often than not. Your team, unfortunately, was last in the league at the most home runs allowed, in the upwards of 50. No other team was closer to that. What is the approach mindset going into this season with another year under the belt, with Chelsea pitching in London over the summer? What is the mindset for the staff going into this season?
Definitely a number that we look at, and definitely a disappointing number. We do expect that number to be up because of the pitches that they throw. Often that number is high with the rise balls, so with Chelsea and Tracy both throwing rise balls. However, we have incorporated several different pitches this year, so we're hoping that they can do better with their location there, because it's not going to be acceptable, and they know that too.
Let's dive into this season. Your team was picked second in the East Coast Conference preseason poll. Tracy Balinskis, who's now a senior, it's hard to believe because we all remember her when she was just a freshman coming in, but she was the preseason player of the year for the East Coast Conference. Let's start with her. What about her? You've seen her mature from freshman now to senior softball player, could go down as one of the best to play here in Rockville Center. What has it been like watching her kind of grow through these 4 years?
It's been great because Tracy is good at a lot of parts of her game. She's good offensively, she's good defensively. I probably can put her anywhere on the field and she'd be a first-team all-conference player. So that we like. I think the biggest improvement that we have seen in her pitching, she didn't get much opportunity as a freshman, a little bit better as a sophomore, kind of peaked for herself a little bit in junior year, but we're expecting a lot from her from the circle for this year, and I think she feels that expectation. She feels like she needs to be the one.
Among the other players that are returning from this team, Erin Clinton, Ashley Fedor, Olivia Banolski, who was a good table setter for you at the top of the lineup as well. Chelsea Hawks, who we mentioned as well, but then Milan Bodie is back this year after a year sabbatical, we'll call it. She was a big star for you back in 2013 when your team won 53 games, went to the College World Series, was almost one of the Final Four teams in the College World Series. Having a majority of this lineup back, can you speak to what that means for you, the continuity that you have going in each lineup, knowing who's set where?
Yeah, it's great to have Milan back. It's like having another freshman recruit, one that I didn't expect, so it's a pleasant surprise. She offers a lot to the team because she can offer maturity. She's a great up at bat, and I think her leadership behind the plate is going to be great. Obviously, we have Alex Russo, who did a great job for us last year, but I'm not looking for one catcher to catch 56 games. They take a beating back there. and Alex has a great bat. So I feel like with those two, they're working out well together. I can flip-flop them, they can, play designated hitter as well as catch, so we're looking for big things from both of them as a combination.
Now let's talk a little bit about the freshmen that you have coming in as well. We mentioned the pitching with Jenna Torado coming from Cary. You have the Burns sisters, Ellen and Tara from Huntington. Caitlin Snyder's in the mix and Katie Polselli. You've got a stout class of freshmen in preseason. Who has impressed you? Who has surprised you? What have you seen? Those will transfer, and Christina Hayer's come in from Brooklyn College as well. So what is really their dynamic kind of brought into this team as well?
Well, I think Jenna Torado is going to be a great surprise for all of us. Everybody's happy to see her, that she chose Molloy. She's been really working hard, and she's been pushing both Tracy and Chelsea, and that's what we want on the pitching staff. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if we find her pitching a lot more games than people might anticipate. But I think she just needs to mature as we develop, obviously, a different game at the college level. Caitlin Schneider, she's going to see herself in the infield, and she knows that. She can play short or second, and she's done a great job at second. We're getting a lot of maturity out of Brianna Dalton in her second year here.
Right.
So that's helping out with Caitlin. Transfer, Christina, she got a lot of speed. We haven't had speed in a couple of years, so
Right.
we've been looking for that. So she's pushing Olivia from last year.
Right.
So that's a great combination together. And Olivia, I think, is going to show us a lot of leadership. We're going to see a little bit of a different game out of her this year.
One of the things that always kind of bugged me about softball, and this is going back to the days of Nicolette Sinagra, is that the shortstop position always seems to be the toughest one to play in the infield. That they always run up the number of errors. We've seen a lot of them from a lot of different shortstops around this conference. Why, in your mind, is shortstop the hardest position in softball, error-wise, to play?
I think that obviously they got to cover a lot of ground. A lot of people are pole hitters, so they do see a lot of balls. They're in a lot of mixes of everything. They're the cutoffs for the outfield often. They're going to take the throws down from second. So they're going to make a lot of your throws. So that's going to increase it. They got the longer throw across the diamond compared to second. Nicolette did a great job there, and we got to remember that Nicolette did not come in here as a
Right.
shortstop. She was a third baseman, but because she's so athletic, she did a great job for us there, but she truly was a third baseman.
Right.
So I expect Brianna to have a much better year this year. I can just see through the preseason how she's feeling more confident.
So let's talk about the East Coast Conference slate. LIU Post was picked first. You guys are right behind with NYIT there as well, and Queens was the champion last season there in that fourth spot. Now, it's obviously a very tough conference, but does that surprise you at all that they are as low as they are? Did you expect it with the turnover that they have? And do you see yourself being right there in the mix as picked second? Is that fair, do you think?
Yeah, I think picking us second is fair. I think the only reason you see Queens at number 4 is because they lost 2 of their pitchers and one of their big bats and a couple of good defensive players
Right.
in the infield, and obviously with good bats as well. I think that we go out with the mindset every day we play is a day we could be beat. So everybody's good, anybody can beat in any day. Obviously, you got to put LIU Post up there because they have a great run over the last 15 years. So it's difficult, but we expect to be in the mix.
So you start your season off in Myrtle Beach. Aside from it being a great destination to go to, of course, why is it so important to start off in the South? We heard Joe Fugarino talk about this a little earlier with baseball, that it gives them time to kind of prepare and it gives you a chance to see what works and what doesn't. Is that the same mindset for softball as it is for baseball, and that starting those games in Myrtle Beach, starting them in Boca, in Claremont, in Florida, give you that sort of mindset as to, let's see how this both shakes out before conference season starts?
And the real reason we went this year is obviously it breaks up the preseason, and we're ready to go because we started early in January. But this is an opportunity for us to play all Northeast teams. So these are teams all from our region. It's important that we get in-region games. With the weather back here, we often lose those games and then have no opportunity in the short season to make them up. So we do want to be competitive with those teams, so we need to play them.
Right.
So we want to be competitive in the rankings. So it's an opportunity for us to play the New Havens, the Lemoynes, get some in-region games.
Right. Last question for you. If we're to take this crystal ball and look through it and kind of see where Molloy will be at the very end, what do you think will be the catalyst to your team getting back to that ECC championship game where you belong, where the players believe they belong? What'll be the major key to getting back to that point again?
The key is going to be, we're going to hit. We've got a very good offensive team, and we're good defensively. It's going to be how our pitching squares up against everybody else's. And they've been working hard, and we have Kelly Jansen, obviously a great run here at Molloy when she was here, but she's now on the pitching staff. And I think she knows what needs to get done to make it happen.
Right.
And so she's been in their shoes, so hopefully they're understanding from her what needs to get done and that we do it.
It'll be a great season ahead, Susan. Thanks for the time, and best of luck to you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.